A pirate ship cannon shoots a 5.5 kilogram cannonball with a diameter of 0.11 meters at a speed of 300 meters per second. Can the cannonball hit a target 3,000 meters away? And under what conditions could it achieve this distance? So for this we're going to be looking at projectile motion in air resistance. So we're going to use these two coupled equations, which I got from the Taylor Mechanics book. I've seen a few different equations for projectile motion in air resistance, but I'm using these, where C is the air coefficient of air resistance, which is given by gamma d squared, where gamma is another constant for air, which is just 0.25 newtons times second squared over meters to the fourth, and d is the diameter of the ball that you're firing, projectile that you're firing. So I guess this is maybe more specific to spheres moving in air. And so these two equations are coupled, so we can't solve them analytically. We're going to have to solve this problem numerically. And to do that, we either have to make some kind of program or do it by hand. We're going to do it by hand. Okay, we're not really going to do it by hand because that would take way too long. So we made a spreadsheet. So this column is this equation, and this column is this equation, and that pulls the initial velocity and the x component of the initial velocity and the y component of the initial velocity from these two columns. And then these columns give these columns use this equation and this equation to find the new velocities after 1 second has passed, because we're doing 1 second intervals for this. So from there we can find the x and y positions using these equations, and then we can graph that. And so we have graphed that, and this blue line here is the graph of projectile motion with air resistance. The red one is with no air resistance. So you can see 3,000 would be about right here. So with air resistance, it wouldn't be able to hit that, and that's at the max angle, 45, where you get the most distance. So it would have to be in a no air resistance situation, and we can play around, change the angle around just to see, watch the graphs change. That's always pretty cool. 20, maybe a little, oh, I did 0. So 20, 10 maybe. Probably about a 10 with no air resistance. So it would have to be Space Pirates, if with the conditions that it was given for it to travel 3,000 meters. Unless these are Space Pirates, they're not going to be hitting any targets that are 3,000 meters. In fact, they're not going to be hitting any targets past a little bit past the 2,000 meter mark. This spreadsheet might not be the most efficient way to do this. A program would probably be a lot better, but it's pirates. Sometimes things are a little sloppy on the high seas, and they had to use spreadsheets. So that's what I wanted to show here. Pirates shooting cannonballs. That's pretty cool. I thought it was cool.